There are some 50 museums in Zurich, Switzerland. However, the Rietberg Museum, which is located in the Ritter Park in Zurich, is a little gem. It is the largest art museum focusing on non-European art and design in Switzerland, the third largest museum in Zurich, and the largest to be run by the city itself. Among the highlights at the museum are Chinese porcelain from the Myeongdang collection, Indian miniature paintings from the Alice Bonner collection, and Himalayan Buddhist art from the Bertie Ashman collection. While it has fantastic collections of African, American, and Oceanian art, for me, it's their Asian art and sculptures that are truly a treasure. Not least because Artibus Asia, the biannual academic journal specializing in the arts and archaeology of Asia, is published out of the Rietberg Museum. Now, among the scholars that have worked with Artibus and Rietberg were three extraordinary art historians who focused on the study of Indian painting. The Indian art historian, Dr. B.N. Goswami, the German art historian and ethnologist, Dr. Eberhard Fischer, and the former director of the Freer Gallery of Art at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, Dr. Milo C. Beach. In honor of them, Rietberg has launched the GBF Foundation for collaborative research on South Asian art and artists. Now, the newly established GBF Foundation, founded in honor of Dr. B.N. Goswami, Dr. Eberhard Fischer, and Dr. Milo Beach, seeks to advance research and appreciation of our shared cultural heritage. Two important elements of the GBF Foundation have been one object in question, a residency program hosted at the Rietberg Museum, which invites artists and scholars to immerse themselves in a single object from the collection, using it as the basis for new research, writing, and creative work. By encouraging slow, sustained engagement, the residency fosters deep reflection on art objects and their meanings in our time. So some of the items which have been included have been Chamba Rumals, paintings by the Nensuk family, and a tantric painting from Udaipur. Sonika Soni was the first recipient in 2021 and has earlier this year done an exhibition on Ragmalas there, which was her topic. This August, the foundation launched Musavri, a 10-day summer school offering 12 selected participants the chance to work hands-on with traditional miniature painting techniques. Led by contemporary miniature artists Murad Khan Mumtaz and Manish Soni, alongside the curator Sonika Soni, the program is training young art historians, conservators, and artists in every stage of practice, from preparing paper and pigments to brush making and final compositions. Participants also have access to Rietberg's outstanding collection in private study sessions, creating a unique dialogue between historical collections and living traditions. Today, on Dr. B.N. Goswami's birthday, I am privileged to speak with two of the finest miniature artists of our times, Murad Khan Mumtaz and Manish Soni, and Sonika, who has created this program. And thank you all of you for being here with me today. So I have three of the most interesting people I've got to interview in a long time, and that's Manish Soni, Sonika Soni, and Murad Khan Mumtaz. Now, all three of them are miniature painters. In Manish and Sonika's case, they come from a family of miniature painters. So it helps us create an ambience for what we are planning. What they have done is a summer school on miniature art, which is being held in the Rietberg Institute, the Rietberg Museum, and within it there's an institute. And Sonika is organizing a summer school out there on miniature art. So I'm going to introduce a little bit about three of them, tell you a little bit, and then we're going to have a little bit of discussion on why is miniature art important today? Where are we taking it? How do we keep it going? Because they're the right people to answer these questions. They're the ones who are teaching it right now. Manish Soni was born in Bhilwara, Rajasthan, and comes from the family of Rajasthan miniature painter, Pichwai master and antique dealer Badrilal Chitrakar Soni, who won the National Award in 1987. Following the family tradition, he started painting at a young age and apprenticed alongside his father and grandfather, and their works are held in significant collections in India, Europe, and USA. And where I first got to see him was, he also starred as the 17th century painter Nensuk in a film which was produced by the Rietberg Museum. And presently he lives and works in Udaipur. Sonika Soni is the curator of the Ragmala exhibition at the Rietberg Museum, which was held earlier this year, and is currently heading the summer school at the GBF Foundation, which stands for Goswami, Beach, and Fischer, who were all art historians. and in whose name scholars have gathered from across the world to learn from Manish and Murad. So she's currently engaging in the scientific analysis of traditional Indian paintings with a special focus on the Ragmala paintings, which are essentially about classical Indian music. Her master's degree is in art history from the Faculty of Fine Arts in Baroda, and she's got a postgraduate diploma in museology and conservation from the CSMVS in Mumbai. And now we come to Murad Khan Mumtaz, who has been on Art Radio earlier as well. He's an art historian, author, and artist based in Williamstown in Massachusetts in America. He's an assistant professor at the Williams College, Virginia, and he's the author of Faces of Images of Devotion in Indo-Muslim painting, 1500 to 1800. And that's the book I'm currently reading. He's also part of Chrome Lahore, which is the collective research on Mughal Lahore. So there's a bunch of them in Lahore who are doing fantastic, really fascinating work. And sitting here in Delhi, when we talk about Lahore, we have to remember that we've always been on the same continent, that we've been working on Mughal miniatures under the same rulers. So it's very essential today that the work he's doing mixes with the work which is being done in India, if there's work being done on miniature paintings in India. Mumtaz is also a practicing artist trained in traditional Hindustani painting techniques. And what he did in the Ragmala series was paintings on Krishna Leela. And I found that absolutely fascinating. So thank you all three of you for being here. Sorry, Sonika, I got that wrong. Was it Krishna Leela?
No, it was basically Basant Rag, depiction of Basant Rag, where he inserted Krishna as the protagonist of the subject that he chose. So he depicted Basant Rag and he depicted Megh Rag for the exhibition.
That's a whole separate conversation, finding out about Ragmalas, because that is a topic I really need help on. It's a huge, huge topic, and I'm glad there are people working on that. But let's get to the summer school that you have all very kindly worked on. So, it's the name of the school is Musawwari this year. So,
Yeah.
what does that mean, and how does it apply here?
Murad, why don't you start?
The term Musawwari?
Yeah.
It's the Arabic word al-Musawwir, which is one of the 99 names of God. And from there, the sort of term Musawwir becomes part of the painting practice across the Indo-Persian traditions. So it's a Persian tradition, part of the Persian workshop system that then through the Mughals became more and more established in South Asia. So then that's the word we end up using. Practicing artists call themselves Musawwir mostly across the northern Hindustani tradition, especially. So that we thought that because we're teaching historical practice, traditional practice, it would be also nice to use the word that goes along with it originally, rather than just thinking about it as miniature painting. Even though miniature painting is also totally fine, because that's also what we use to call ourselves.
So what so far, since you've already done, I think, 3, 4 days of the summer school, what's been your favorite part of the course so far?
Favorite part is well, there's no favorite part up till yet because we are just showing our talent to the students, and it's up to them that how they learn it and how perfectly they get to know our teachings. That is an important part for us, and most of the students, they are from already from the background, and we have chosen them really, the whole year. So yeah, they know all about art a little bit, and it's just the practice and things which is lacking, and they are doing it.
It's a wonderful group because they're all professionals related to the field of miniature painting. So conservators, art historians, and artists, and scholars or educators. So it's just about feeding them a hands-on experience to a lot of elements that they already have an historical or other sort of understanding of. So it's a very mature group and a very excited and enthusiastic group. So I think that's been the highlight.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite part of miniature painting? Because I've been seeing there's a lot of steps to it. There's making the paper, there is preparing the colors, there's there seems to be so much which goes into it.
Yeah, you can't isolate one from the other. It's everything together.
My favorite part is I'm doing miniature painting. That's it.
It comes with the whole package. There's no one element that can be highlighted as such.
My favorite part so far for the workshop is working with two of them and bringing together the amazing 12 talents that we have here. So that I've been enjoying a lot. To the lively discussions we have in the rooms that have been very nurturing.
I can imagine. That
Yeah.
must, at the end of the day, as everyone puts in all that effort to actually discuss it, to think about it together, that must be an amazing, amazing coalition, an amazing group to create. Manish, I'm going to come back because this is the first time I get to interview you. And you've acted in one of my favorite films, which is Nensuk. And we are actually doing this interview on the day of the birth date of the person who found Nensuk for our generation.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
when you created this movie, what was it like working on it? Why did you decide to make Nensuk voiceless?
Well, I was a part of the film very slowly. Initially, I was just working as the, designer of the film, or creating the paintings for the film. But slowly I entered, I don't know what was the point when I entered into the film, but it was a very gradual process where I slowly doing things, and then at the end, I landed up acting Nensuk. So I'm lucky that I got a chance to act one of my favorite artists in the world, and people know me as Nanso, which is a luck. Like, I'm really very happy and fortunate to be born to do this. So I mean, I couldn't compare myself even to the size of nail of Nansuk. So that is, yeah, I'm very happy and very blessed to be a part of this whole project.
Why did they decide to make Nansuk voiceless?
Because we are trying to show the paintings, and paintings are just emotions coming from your mind. They don't have voice. So I think that was the point, that if you are visually looking to the paintings, you just need an understanding. You don't need voices to describe things. And that was the point of Nansuk also in his paintings.
And if I can add on a more technical level, it was coming from the research of Eberhard Fischer and Goswami ji. So their research had to be highlighted, right, in the movie. And obviously, like you have seen the movie, so you know that it's a fictional movie. It's based from a fictional diary which Goswami ji had written once on Nensuk. So to give the dialogues would be a gustaki, would have been an intervention to giving the voice to somebody we know only through artworks. So where and then the Nansuk's artworks are strong enough to have their own voice. They do not need anybody else to know to supplement anything else. And I think there is Goswamiji's research now, which is like complementary. If somebody has to, and then there are a few dialogues which Goswamiji himself recites in the movies. So I think those are strong enough. So there's no need for any other voice in there. So it's a painting that they speak for themselves.
It's actually a picture. It's by this movie they try to give a shape to paintings, give a vision, moving vision to paintings. So basically, it's just paintings which you see in every frame of the movie.
That leads to only the artworks, correct? Yeah.
And I'm really thankful to the director Amit Datta. Without him, this couldn't have been done.
Brilliant director.
You know, really, I mean, all of you coming together to make that, really, you made something very special in a certain moment of time.
Yeah.
Okay, so how now we have all these scales and compasses and all that I've been seeing that your students have been using for the past few days, etc. But how did your sorry, I thought I did. I did see a couple of
Mhm.
scales and all. How did your forebearers make miniatures? And especially because I'm thinking of Nensuk with his absolutely straight lines, which any Kandinsky could have done. Uh, how were they doing this work?
Well, there is a very
We were doing the practices just yesterday and a day for on how to make a freehand straight line. So it's a part of the learning in which you don't need a measured scale. You can just use any straight edged
yeah.
piece of wood or anything.
Yeah, and for measurements, they were like subconsciously there were these sacred geometry into our ancestors' thought process.
Yeah.
So we have that has a completely different rules and regulations which needs to be learned from very scratch.
Yeah.
That doesn't need any numbers or figures.
But they had their own tools. They did
Of
have,
course.
yeah,
Yeah.
they always had their toolbox with them. Each artist probably had their own toolbox, and it did have their own measurements. On definitely not written numbered, but they had their own way. They
And you can see it in the paintings,
Yeah.
whether that's Pahari sometimes, but especially when you have images of artists like in Mughal and Persian paintings, you see the whole toolbox and
Yeah.
protractor and triangles and these things are not modern day tools. They've been around for 500, 600 years, maybe more actually.
Yeah. And then
How
I think there's one more thing which I think it's when you see somebody and you can figure out the height of him, like it must be like 5 feet something. That's the way we generally design our paintings.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
it's like two something 9 inches and something like that. So it's just thought process.
And practice. Yeah.
but paper and colors we haven't really changed much since, say, the 18th century. As far as I can tell, I can still see you working with Lark. I can still see you working with Indigo. Uh, in the paper, you're still making the same paper by hand. So, what has really changed in miniature art?
Who wants to answer that?
I think I
So the materials probably remain the same. What has changed is the perception and obviously the world and how we see the world right now. So the world of the paintings, which was in 15th century or 17th, that also kept on changing, and it's gradually changing in today's world as well. So it's only the perceptions that's changing, but the materials and techniques they also obviously developed and evolved over the period. With each artist also a little bit, you see a little slight variations but only in the depictions in the rendering, not so much in the material, in the materiality. So that's more or less remain consistent.
So, how do you then bring new technologies into this? So, all three of you have been working with film and sound as mediums. I've been seeing a series of films. Uh, there is, of course, sound that we can discuss separately. Now, when what do you think is the role of technology in studying, archiving, and reviving the art of miniature paintings?
Okay, so not making the painting. Because if you are talking about making the paintings, technology can still help a little because now you can zoom in and zoom out like on the larger screens and there's a visual aid obviously and then you can like make the prints and it's like for tracing the paintings and all of that. So some of the procedures have so there is an added advantage of technology, but if you're talking about archiving and documenting, I think that's a completely separate topic that needs a complete separate discussion, but because I mean that's entirely based on that's just digitization mostly. So there we do need technology for every aspect of archiving.
Because I'm asking this because as somebody who is fond of miniature paintings, I'm just going to give you the example of the Hamzanama or the Razamnama. And we no longer know if the Razamnama survives. We know that the Hamzanama in our lifetime, the pieces that have been found, the ones who survived, wonderful, they are kept in museums. Others, faces have been rubbed off, pieces have been lost. This incredible work. We are now left with, say, 140 odd paintings out of the original 1400. Murad and I were having a separate discussion on another couple of paintings that hopefully are still in the Lahore Museum and some in the Chandigarh Museum because everything got divided up. I don't know in what condition they are, even in museums. But we are, in our lifetime, we are losing works which have lasted centuries. So, how do we go about saving these, uh, working with youngsters to save these? Well, let's forget about government. So, let's see how we can work with people to save these.
Well, I think right now in the, especially in India and in other parts of the world as well, there's like a fresh awareness about working in the museum field and in archiving and documentation. And a lot of youngsters are already stepping in. And there's like recently there's a flood of people coming in this field and working. And I see that right now it's at a very good, it is a very, very good stage. And paintings are kept, people are, even the collectors are more conscious of keeping of the upkeep. And obviously, museums are doing the best that they can. So I think right now, on the contrary, I'd like to contradict you because right now I think we are at a very, very good position as compared to probably 50 years back.
That gives me a lot of hope.
Yeah.
Bharat.
Yeah, there's more connectivity among collections and conservators are being brought on more. I see in museum collections, like that's what we're doing in our little collection in the US as well. Huge conservation project going ahead. So it's become easier, and of course, technology helps with understanding what needs to be preserved and how you need to preserve it. So I think the dark ages really were the that late colonial period and the early period right after partition, the 1940s, 50s, 60s, 70s.
Yeah.
Those were the strange periods where things really got destroyed and ruined. But over the last 10, 20 years, there's been more awareness of preservation. Maybe not in every collection, but overall.
That gives me so much hope. Thank you. So, through this summer school that you're doing, what are the new research directions that you're looking at? Because you have talked about.
It's a school, so there's not much research focus. It's more about teaching these professionals in the field how to make a painting, how to prepare pigments, how to make brush, how to complete a painting. So it's not research related at all, I would think.
Yeah, I mean the research part or the pedagogy part where people from different disciplines are gathered, and then the discussions they have because obviously they bring in their perspectives. So to discuss it with the living artists, and for example, the living artists get to discuss with the conservators. I think that's where this bridge this dialogue, this bridging, which was absolutely necessary. I think that's what is happening, and we are excited about that.
Okay, so now all three of you, like, and I was thinking about this the other day about Nensok and how he, sorry about that, how painting became a part of what he was doing. There was so much else he had to take on, whether it was working with his patrons, etc. Now, all of you are working in so many different categories. Murad is teaching. He is working with Chrome Lahore. He's working on Ragmalas. Manish is he's working on Pahari paintings. He's also teaching. He's literally being called Mustad by the students at GVF right now. Sonika, you are doing so much. You seem to me, we always forget that there were women in the artist workshops as well who were the backbone and the lifeline of those workshops. So, where are the three of you taking this? What are you reaching for with so much work that you're putting in?
Like, do you need an honest answer? Or do you need a diplomatic answer?
I think just be honest. Because
Actually,
everyone knows
honestly,
it.
no, we're just celebrating the tradition and we are enjoying to the max and just getting to learn from each other more and more.
We have such amazing conservators in our group, and I'm learning a lot from them because they have such a key understanding of all the chemical makeup of different pigments and how they're different from each other. So we're actually learning more about the historical application and how it might have changed over the years and how to So, for us, it's a big learning experience by connecting with other like-minded people. So for me personally, it's a great platform to connect with other like-minded people, whether that's scholars or artists or or conservators or
Yeah, and my take is like I learned this technique from my grandfather and father and my family, and I haven't paid and I haven't, it's just a free of knowledge diverted to me, and I wish that I can spread it, whatever I know. I'm still learning, but whatever I know, I can just spread it to the world.
Yeah. And also now, I mean, the diplomatic answer would be, but a correct answer obviously is that we are trying to forward the GBF mission, obviously, because we're doing this workshop as it's an initiative of the GBF Foundation that we have started at the Museum Riedberg. So the GBF, like you said, it stands for Goswami Beach and Fish are the three pioneers. And then forwarding the research in their name is one of the ideas of this workshop. So that's where we are trying to take it.
Perfect. So I'm going to thank you all so much. You've been
Thank you
wonderful
for the
to talk to,
contribution.
and I'm glad I could do this with you all, and especially on
Yeah.
Dr. Goswami's birthday. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.